saw the German chancellor come out recently, and she's shocked and appalled that her mobile phone is being monitored by the NSA. When the WikiLeaks information came out, you found that in the embassy in Moscow, they were talking all this rubbish about the premier, or you found out in Egypt that they were saying that this guy's insane, and all of these things. And now it turns out the U.S., when they're in Toronto, are spying on the G20 people. But isn't this diplomacy 101? I mean, from the days of the Romans, everyone is constantly spying on other people. Is a certain amount of this just a part of doing business? I mean, when Merkel, is she really mad, or is she just she just have to come out and say this is ridiculous? I mean, isn't everyone always spying on everyone else?
I'm sure that part of the anger was for domestic consumption, as we say.
Okay, right.
But on the other hand, it was very weird that Merkel's phone was already tapped 4 years before she became the chancellor. So she was a up-and-coming politician in opposition, merely an elected member of parliament, not in the government, and already they were tapping her phone. And from that you can infer that probably every politician in the world who is seen as having potential, so maybe in 10 years there will be somebody. So now the US starts tapping their phone today, because then 10 years down the line you have a dossier going back a decade. Now, that is pretty far beyond sort of, the reasonable, okay, we want to have some intelligence about what everybody's doing. I suspect actually that the vast majority, because, Angela Merkel was never a terrorist or in any way, shape or form a threat to US national security. So doing it at this level and at that scale and over that time period is just way, way, way beyond the pale. And it's not about security matters. This is about trade negotiations. This is about industrial espionage. This is about being able to manipulate your so-called allies who actually, apparently you aren't that allied with. So I think the vast majority of the spying that institutions like the NSA do have nothing to do with so-called national security, which is, one of those famously completely undefined terms like the war on terror.
Right.
Where neither war on or terror is defined. So that's sort of like that. So why do you tap Facebook and Gmail and all that stuff? This is not about fighting terrorists. This is about industrial espionage, number one. This is about figuring out what British Aerospace is doing in Airbus, so you can get the information to Boeing so they can make a better offer to the Chinese and get the $20 billion contract. That's I think, the chief purpose of this. And then the secondary purpose is repressing democratic resistance in particularly Western societies. I mean, in other societies, you can do it in other ways, a bit more brutal and a bit more direct. And in the West, of course, if there's a democratic opposition to something, you can't just shoot those people. That would look bad on television, so you don't do that. So what you do is you infiltrate the groups. And of course, that's much easier if you know exactly who's in the group, what they think about each other, where they are physically, where they hang out, all that information. So all the activists who organize their little things over Facebook, they get infiltrated just all the way up to their eyebrows, and especially if they're doing something that actually matters.
Right.
And that's also what it's for. It's all the spying.
Powerful tool if you think about it. If you know what Merkel's saying on her mobile phone,
of course.
You can manipulate the whole situation. It's funny because I worked in the city of London for 9 years as a trader in the banking industry, and all of our lines are recorded. They have been since I was working in that business 20 years ago. And you call it going to the tapes. And it's never a nice thing if you have to go to the tapes, because you have to pull and find out exactly what you said. If you said buy or sell, or say you quoted a number at a certain price, and you have to go back. But you're constantly aware that everything you're saying is being recorded. So you just develop an intelligence where you don't say some things on recorded lines because you know that potentially it could get pulled. So you get this awareness about you. So in a weird way, I'm kind of a little bit more aware, because most people just don't think twice when it comes to what's going to say. I bet even one of Merkel's aides would call and say, blah, 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 Obama, right before her meeting with them, and say, remember, push him on this because he's having a hard time at home. And Obama having that information completely can structure his argument.
This is what it's for. And I think the fact that actually in the West so many people have complete faith in, the morality of their governments into an unknown future is sort of a testament to actually the success of sort of the whole Western project. The fact that we are now in a place where most citizens literally cannot conceive that their governments would ever go bad, which is in itself it's sort of a big achievement. But now it's becoming our major weak point, really, when some of the governments do go bad, more or less, that we can't respond adequately anymore, and we need we require a level of evidence first that when that happens, things have already gone completely off the rails. So on the one hand, it's actually a testament to how nice a place Europe is, that most of the Europeans are completely naive about these sorts of things.
Right, even though this was one of the most oppressed continents for a
Yeah,
very long time.
but so for the last half century plus, it's been a pretty good place to live.
Yeah, it's been happy. It's been a happy place.
But so maybe we've unlearned a little bit how bad the world can really be, and we need to relearn it a little bit.